Now, given that today is June 30th, we have a lot of things going on right now with the Dial of Destiny ever since it released in theaters. A lot of people are giving out mixed reviews and also reporting back here to me about how empty their theaters really are in their local areas. On top of this, we know that Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy are going through a phase of panic. And throughout this phase of panic, specifically for Bob Iger, there's a lot of changes coming to Lucasfilm that's going to be happening in the coming months that's going to take 2 whole years to process. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. And let's get right into exactly what's happening with Lucasfilm and how this is going to deeply impact the Star Wars franchise. Now, we know that Bob Iger is trying to really create a better legacy for himself before either A, he steps down in 2024, or B, he gets fired by the higher-ups over at Disney. It's going to be either or for next year. So, in any scenario, he wants to leave behind a better legacy than what it is now. We know that after Galactic Star Cruiser Hotel, and that actually got announced to close by this September, that's a big L on him. We also have everything happening with Indy 5, the Dial of Destiny, box office projections. That's also not good. And Elemental was really the deal breaker for Bob Iger, where people began to realize that, yeah, Disney needs to improve, and they really need to change big time. And now, we're going to be diving into exactly what's going on with Lucasfilm and this Lucasfilm Purge, quote-unquote. Now, essentially, with Disney and Lucasfilm now preparing for a big shift with the Star Wars franchise after Iger made a green light for something substantial, one big development and update involving the upcoming Lucasfilm Purge has much to do with a cancellation of Star Wars TV shows and movies. One big addition to this purge that was greenlit by Iger involves the process of firing roughly 30% of Lucasfilm employees throughout 2024 for starters, and a higher percentage following in 2025. It's going to be a 2-year process for Bob Iger to restructure Lucasfilm as much as possible with the right creators coming on board. This is also set to fire and replace specific writers and directors connected to the Mandoverse era, projects along with upcoming Star Wars films as well. Another big update for the Purge happening at Lucasfilm is that they are about to cancel the Bo-Katan series that has been in development that was going to feature her time as the leader of Mandalore and flashbacks related to Tara Vizsla. Now, you guys may recall, we talked about this Bo-Katan series a couple of times on and off. It has been in development. In fact, that's why Kathy Kennedy was promoting her so much in Mando Season 3 to kind of segue into this Bo-Katan show. That is now getting canceled and is getting scrapped altogether. Disney seems like they're trying to wake up, or seems like they are beginning to become a little bit more aware about what fans really want to see big time that's going to make the most money. And that's basically what they are doing. They're focusing only on projects that they feel is going to make the most money. Now, following this, alright, what's even interesting about this further is the fact that this slate of Star Wars movies are also going to completely change. So, it's going to be interesting whether or not James Mangold is going to get fired from the Dawn of the Jedi film once this purge goes into effect in about a month or two. That's going to last 2 whole years. It's going to be a very progressive, lengthy process because they also have to find the right replacements to take over Lucasfilm and to take on specific projects. And I think deep down, Bob Iger knows that the Dial of Destiny is not going to perform anywhere near $1 billion worldwide, let's be honest. As much as he's telling us that and to the public, I don't see it happening. I really just don't see that happening at all whatsoever. Now, on to the next. Now, this entire show is about to be scrapped after Disney realized, we're talking about the Bo-Katan series, after that fans realized, of course, that they were not fond of Bo-Katan taking over the role of Din Djarin in Mando Season 3. The Lando series is also getting closer to a cancellation due to this purge, along with the second season of Boba Fett that also was a consequence of this big change at Disney for Lucasfilm. Another show that went through a cancellation due to this was with a revised version of Rangers of the New Republic that was in the process of getting revived. Now, we talked about this just yesterday, of how Disney really kind of twisted Jon Favreau's arm to accept this and to cancel this altogether. They were trying to bring back Rangers after it got canceled last year, and to bring it back on the table for the current slate of Star Wars projects. That was in the works, that is now no more. So that was also a consequence of this purge that's happening over at Lucasfilm by Disney CEO Bob Iger. Now, the reason why I mentioned 2025 before, regardless if Iger is gone, his purge effect is going to actually last onwards. No matter if a new CEO takes over, whatever have you, it's going to be grandfathered in over at Disney. So that's one thing to be aware of. Now, what's interesting about this, though, is further down the road here, additionally, that has come to an end. Members of the Lucasfilm story group will also be swapped through the 2024 year, and Iger is already looking into getting a new vice president of 2024 for Lucasfilm by the end of that year as well. All of this is coming after the failure of Mando Season 3 and the potential loss from Indy 5. Now, what happened, of course, also with Willow as a series. We all saw that. That's also, of course, why Iger is moving ahead with this purge. Now, again, I think that this should have happened a long time ago, to be honest. We were all really asking for a revised roadmap of Star Wars that would focus on quality rather than quantity. If you look at the amount of shows that they were about to pump out, it would have really devalued Star Wars. It's like everybody was getting a spin-off. Everything was becoming a spin-off of a spin-off, to the point where it's just like, what are they doing? Like, what is Lucasfilm even thinking here? Now, The Acolyte is still a go, which is sad. The Acolyte spin-off is still a go, which is also even more depressing. We talked about that too, of how that show is going to feature Brie Larson. So it's not like they're completely ridding of Kathleen Kennedy's loyalists, but they are dwindling it down as much as they can in the right amount of time as possible, without interfering any kind of loss in revenue, right? So they have to be very careful with this, so I can see that point of view, but this is just a mess, and it's only going to get worse over at Lucasfilm. It's why D23, that's happening by this September, by the way, you're not going to get major movie announcements. That has now been shifted all the way over until March of 2024, and that's another telltale sign about bad news related to the movie slate. The Rey movie is still a go. You know, they're planning on shooting that by April of 2024. That's going to be the first Star Wars movie that will be arriving. So that's also even all the more depressing. Nobody asked for a Rey movie, let's be honest, guys. I mean, did you ask for it? I sure didn't. I think the better route would have been to embrace going forward into the future by, let's say, maybe 500 years, where Rey is long gone and dead, and the new Jedi Order has been well established for, you know, centuries. That would have been more interesting. That could have been like the old Republic of the future, so to speak. So anyways, guys, I would like to hear your take on all of this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.
From night to moon we hear them moans again.